May I now request Sri Abhijit M, the Secretary of our Management, DJV Sangha, to orally inaugurate this webinar.
It's a proud privilege for the management to have its college doing a seminar like this, and a new normal is already here. So we are forced to get accustomed to this new normal. I hope educational institution like our college, like Davala College, and all other educators would play a very important role in bringing awareness of this new normal in every segment of life to every person in this world. So I'm really happy and proud that I am part of this inaugural session, and I proudly inaugurate this webinar on banking systems. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I now request Professor Mahavir Ajri, the convener of the webinar, to introduce the guest and the resource person of this webinar, Sri Raja BS.
Dear participants, a very good morning to you all. It's my pleasure to introduce today's resource person, Sri Raja BS, to this webinar. Raja BS post-graduated in Commerce from Mangalore University in 1988. Immediately after his post-graduation, he joined teaching profession and worked for 2 years at Kasaragod, Kerala. In the year 1990, he joined as officer at Karnataka Bank Limited in Chennai. In banking profession, he completed CAIIB and 6 other IIBF certificate courses during his tenure. From 1990 to till now, about 30 years of banking experience in operation and administration. He worked as branch head for about 17 years at various places of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. He is the Chief Manager and Vigilance Department for 1 year, Chief Manager of HR and IR Department for 2 years, AGM and Regional Head at Hyderabad for 3 years. In addition, he worked as departmental head in Planning and Development Department, New Business Department, Credit and Large Advance Department for about 2 years. During this period, he is awarded with Best Region Award for his contribution to the growth of bank. From 10th May 2019 onwards, he is working as DGM and Region Head in Bangalore of Karnataka Bank Limited, which is the biggest region of the bank with more than 30,000 crores of business turnover. In addition, he also actively involved in conducting training classes for managers and officers of Karnataka Bank Limited. He visited a number of colleges for training students on banking related matters. He compiled a number of study materials for banking tests and interviews. He has written various banking related materials and articles relating regularly in house magazine of the bank called Abhyudaya on subjects like customer delight, pleasing personality, SWOT analysis, stepping into the shoes of successful predecessor, what's happiness to WhatsApp, phobia, etc. So with this brief introduction, I have a great pleasure to introduce today's resource person to this webinar. Once again, on behalf of the college and management, I cordially welcome today's resource person to this webinar. I request Sri Raja BS to take over the session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Very good morning to all participants. Respected Principal Sri Ravish Kumar sir, College Management Secretary Sri Abhijit sir, convener Sri Mahavir Ajri, who happens to be my classmate for more than a decade, my friend Mr. Parshanath, IQSA coordinator, Madam Padmaja, all other academicians, participants, very good morning to each one of you. I have pleasure to participate in this seminar because participating in college events is one of my hobby. At the same time, I am little sad to present bankers' perspective in this regard because I am sad because we have not done much during last 5-6 months. We have not at all done anything other than withstanding the stress. We are as tense as you are all. That's why it is not so easy to function as bankers, as you know all. Let me start with this small presentation so that my communication will be much better. Hope I am audible to all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I will just hope the screen is visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Clearly visible.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Let me go ahead with this topic, banking trends during COVID-19. Of course, trend, despite not doing anything during last 6 months or 5 months, we have to be aware of what is going on around and how to tackle these challenges. And this is a small attempt from a banker's perspective. In fact, I recall a small cartoon wherein the Indian economy has been shown as a bull. Often we compare the economy to a raging bull, whereas in this case, the bull was already fallen down, almost sleeping, and looks to be unhealthy as well. Whereas the finance minister tries to wake up the bull and make it active, and she is making her hushing call, whereas the economy is still in its own mood and not looking to be getting up in the near future. And that picture really shows how our economy is suffering at the moment. A bull already fallen down, whereas the government is doing everything to lift it, but that is not adequate to lift the economy or lift the bull I referred here. Dear participants, as you know, we have unforeseen crisis now. We have seen uncalled for situation now, and we have, sadly, we are unprepared for this one also. Unforeseen, uncalled for, and unprepared for. In fact, everything is in disarray and nothing is in our control, I must say. Despite the big effort from the central and state governments, everything is in disarray and economy is in huge stress. Income levels have fallen down. And from the banking sector, huge NPAs addition is predicted in the near future. In fact, RBI came up with the data also. They are expecting minimum of 15% gross NPA, and it will be huge. If RBI in the conservative estimate projects about 15%, it will be more than 20, I must say. And there will be huge load on some other sectors. You know how medical field and how the civic administration is suffering. They are trying their level best to withstand the stress, but still a huge load is there on the sectors which are directly connected to these things, this corona or COVID-19. And because of all these things, the GDP growth has to be negative, and GDP growth projected to be negative, certain it is. And we don't have much to show here based on the performance, because performance is coming only after we survive. That is the situation existing everywhere. And some of the businesses, especially which are related to transport and movement or related activities, especially hospitality, they are having the threat of exiting from the scene also. Some businesses may exit once we come out of this COVID-19 challenges. In summary, the social cost we are facing here is unassessed so far, and the impact on humanity is also unmeasurable. This is about the brief introduction, dear participants. And again, to tell you something more about the situation, everything is in disarray, I told. The Corona or COVID-19 situation is sitting quiet on our economy. In fact, the lot of ambition were there on our Make in India concept, but it has fallen flat because of unforeseen contingency. And we have seen how transport services and related activities are affected severely. The banking and financial services, barring health insurance sector, everything has fallen now. Banking and financial services facing a severe crisis because of many aspects, right from NPA mounting to lack of resources. And lot of efforts are there, but they are inadequate. And the education sector, you are well aware how you cannot conduct the direct face-to-face classes, and other stress also there for you all. You know much more than me here. And the manufacturing industry, one of the basic resource for the entire country, is also suffering. And public works, not to mention how it functioned and how much stress it faces. Public works also at a big stress. And all these caused a very big unemployment situation. And especially in unorganized sector, the situation is much, much serious. Whereas in very organized sectors like banking, the unemployment situation is still not there because all are paid salaries despite there is no much revenue or not much resource generation. But the sectors like IT, they have reduced the salary as well as the jobs cuts also there. So unemployment situation is mounting, and agriculture also has faced the stress because agriculture depends perennially on all these other sectors. That's why although our agriculturists or the farmers are not directly exposed to Corona as in other areas, the agriculture is dependent on other sectors and they are severely affected by the misgivings or the troubles of other areas. Technology field, this also affected much. And we have seen the work from home is happening, but it is only a sample basis, or only 30 to 40% work can be done. And people have to be assembled in office, and that is one of the basic thing in some of the areas. Whereas technology and major 50% of the work could be done through work from home, but still Corona has affected technology field also. And service sector, whatever you mentioned, that service sector has been affected severely by the COVID situation. And finally, social life, we never expected about 6 months back or so, this kind of stress we will face, this kind of everyday crisis we will face. When the COVID situation was there in China, we were all almost joking and we were all enjoying the days, and our own challenges were there. Whereas soon, right from February onwards, we are forced to suffer all these things, and our social life has changed a lot because of this COVID situation. There are some other miscellaneous areas also which need not be mentioned. On the whole, COVID has affected virtually everything in India and internationally. To go little further, a reality check of what happened, especially in the financial sector and banking sector, we have to know it. In fact, all business, industry and service sector completely stand still, and all involved in these three sectors, business, industry and service sector, they are staring at the barrel, or they don't know how the future will turn out to be. And this is a big setback for all of us. And secondly, the MSME sector. MSME gives a lot of employment opportunity, and in fact, 55 to 60% of the employment generation is because of MSME, and that has seen biggest impact from this COVID-19 situation, and most affected, and that needs a very big support. In fact, not only financial, all kinds of supports are required for MSME. And one more area which is seriously affected, tourism, hospitality and real estate. All these three sectors are almost facing a calamity situation. They are totally affected, and we don't know how they will revive in the absence of proper medical care, proper support financially, and proper involvement and recovery of economy on the whole. They are totally affected. And health and pharma industry looks to be not affected much, but the severe load they have taken on them is unbelievable. Health and pharma industry has taken substantial load of this one, and they have also become unstable. Of course, there may be some private sectors who are making money out of this situation, but still on the whole, we have to say health and pharma industry also is unstable, and they have taken unbearable load so far. And the agriculture sector waiting for a great support from the government, as well as they are also having the personal stress, I must say, because they are dependent on so many other sectors, and the agriculture sector, sooner the sector comes out of this crisis, better for all, because whatever may be our job, whatever may be our income level, whatever may be our daily activities, we are all dependent on the farmers for our livelihood. And I mean, the food and basic things we have to fulfill only if our farmers work together and if they perform well. And one more segment which is seriously affected, which is not highlighted in most of the areas, is the personal segment. People who are working in various industries, various service sectors, and self-employed, and people who are working in IT, all those people who have borrowed heavily based on their past income. We have seen how job loss is there for them, how salary loss is there. Job loss is different, salary loss is different, because sometimes the whole job is lost, whereas in some case job is still there, but salary has been cut, especially in IT industry. And we have seen how the burden of EMIs will be troubling all of us. And the EMIs are equitable monthly installments on borrowed fund from the banks. They are fixed based on the past income, whereas when the income is lost, the EMI will not be changed much. That's why the burden of EMI will be there. And there is restriction to movement. Many of our activities are starting from our own movement. If the movement is curtailed, or if we are forced to work from home, 90% of our job is getting into trouble. So work from home is okay for some of us, but the majority of us cannot be working from home. As you academicians have already experienced, teaching in a classroom direct face-to-face is quite different from teaching through our app or through our screen. So it is always quite different, and the personal touch will not be there in the case of these online sessions or online classes. But still we have to adjust to the given situation. And one more area which is not so much bothered officially is the migratory labor. Our country is dependent on a major sector, migratory labor, despite they being unorganized, but their quantum of service or their contribution to the nation is cannot be underestimated. So migratory labor has suffered a lot because of COVID situation, and the common man issues, and which are covered nowhere. They are also having a lot of miseries. Untold miseries are there for migratory labor as well as the common man. And one more is foreign jobs, travels, and foreign income source. Earlier, our friend or our relative or somebody visiting the foreign country or getting revenue from foreign source or getting job there was a prestigious issue. Whereas now the COVID-19 in a single shot made this sector as unviable. No chance of our colleagues or ourselves going to foreign jobs or foreign travels or foreign source of income is almost a fallen flat issue. And in summary, all these things have affected the GDP estimates. Our economic and social life has been affected severely, and there is rise in unemployment, and it has affected both rich and poor alike. This is a rare occasion wherein rich as well as the poor both are affected by a single issue, and this has pulled down the general standard of living, and all of us are having now the stressed lives, and we don't know where we will end up. And to go a little further and tell something about how the banking industry is functioning. You are all aware of it, but from a banker's perspective, it is better to communicate these points, I feel. In fact, for last 5-6 months, our business is completely standstill. no fresh business at all. At branches, the working is severely impaired and severely impacted because either absence or customer visits disturbed or no business or whatever we have issued cannot be given, and the customers also are facing severe crisis for their repayments, and most of the branches are opened, I must say kept open despite challenges, only kept open, whereas they are not normally functioning. And we have seen only basic services are provided for major period, only basic services like cash receipts, payments and transfer of funds within locally, or some limited online services, whereas and some personal loans also we have given, but major advances almost stopped. For both bankers as well as the customers, the stress is unbelievable. In fact, the customer stress is of different kind because they are unable to service their loans, they are unable to withstand their revenue levels, whereas the stress of bankers is how to serve the customer well, how to withstand the quality of the accounts, or how to maintain the quality of the accounts. So only basic services provided, and we are nowhere near to what is expected from us. And one more thing, major thing is no government payments. Government payments are the most important source for customers, for contractors, for service providers. So many people, they are expecting government payments, and this is almost stopped now. And until recently, it was dead stop, whereas small payments are coming from governments, that too for works done, especially for contractors. And one more thing we have observed is no inter-business payments. Business to business payment is a must for bankers to survive. Of course, the payment may not be coming to us. The business has to survive through payment from other businesses. And that has been a severe impaired aspect nowadays. And this COVID-19 situation has affected business and employment alike. And I have seen so many of our borrowers who are very good in nature, either because of fall in income or fall in business or stoppage of activity, their account has slipped in quality, and borrowing by many for staying afloat. It is a paradox situation wherein we have to borrow for living, not for growing, for living on. And one more major aspect we have found is the NPAs, non-performing assets, are all hidden now. We have got moratorium or stoppage of payment of installments. There is only a temporary solution brought by RBI, and all bankers implemented it. But the NPAs are really hidden. They are not just declared. The installment and interest arrears are mounting. The OD renewals, etc., which are the normal happenings, they are pending for long. In fact, moratorium has been mistaken by many of the customers. They believe that moratorium is a waiver. It is not so. Moratorium is just a stoppage for temporary period. It is just a postponement of inevitable. Installments have to be paid. Interest has to be paid after a certain period. For example, if the 3 months or 6 months moratorium given means your loan account will go ahead. Its due date will go ahead by 6 months. That's all. Whereas interest installment need not be paid now, but the same thing will be recovered in future. That means 6 months extended due date means certainly you will be paying the installment. So there is no excuse for that. So the NPAs are hidden, and all these things are affecting the quality of accounts and quality of servicing. Even best of the best customers also found it very difficult to serve their loan accounts. And one more crisis we have observed is CASA, or current and savings accounts. CASA means CASA, we call it short form. CASA is withdrawn for the livelihood by most. In fact, CASA and savings have to grow day by day based on the savings of the customers or the account holders. But we have observed a trend wherein CASA is for livelihood. It is nothing wrong, because there is no regular flow of income from where our people will draw. They will use the funds there in the SB accounts or current accounts of theirs. So CASA is withdrawn and deposit has come down, especially in current accounts. And this is also a matter of concern for most of the bankers. And one more thing is the online frauds have not come down. In fact, I met so many people from police department in the meetings wherein they have expressed because of the lockdown during the last 6 months, almost 6 months, we can assume 6 months lockdown was there. During the lockdown, the physical element of criminal activities or the direct criminal activities have come down substantially. Almost 80% of the criminal activities have come down. But online frauds, financial frauds have gone up. That means even the fraudsters are staying at home, or they are also working from home and doing their fraudulent dealings. And this is one of the serious concern we are facing here. CASA is withdrawn, that is on the positive side, and online frauds are jumping. That is one of the causing concern aspect. And we have seen our branches are opened only 50 or 40% attendance. That is a very risky aspect, because if a branch is opened with the 40% attendance and customers come, then the cost remains same. We have to pay the salary for everybody. We have to serve as much as possible. But running a branch with the 40% staff members is not so easy. That's why it is a challenge for the bankers, which is imposed by the COVID situation. And to come out of all these things, we have done something which is called the personal visits are curtailed nowadays. And we have focused more on cost cutting. And this has to be done in order to be viable and to be in the race, because unless we cut our cost, when the revenues are coming down, we have to cut our cost. We have postponed some of the capital expenditure, especially like branch opening and fixed asset purchase, all those long-term expenditure or capex we call. All those things we have postponed for a year. In fact, in many of the banks, promotion exercise also postponed by a year, including in our bank. We have postponed the promotion exercise for right from top to bottom in order to reduce the cost. And we have also reduced tried to reduce the revenue expenditure like rentals, regular building rent, all those things we have tried to reduce. And all these things, postponement of capital expenditure and reduction of revenue expenditure is just to be in the race and just to make ours viable and just to keep our profit in the green. That's all. And in fact, as you are all doing, all our meetings are on nowadays online mode, but that is not as effective as the offline or direct mode. Even our annual general body meeting, our executive meetings, our branch heads conferences, all these things are nowadays done through online mode. And that is the gist of how we suffered because of this COVID situation. And now let me tell you something about how the support mechanism has been there for our customers, how the banking industry is helping a little bit to the customers as well as the general public, how the economic and banking activities are showing the symptom of revival through certain support mechanism given by the Modi ji government. In fact, the government is doing so many things, but the bad thing is these are not at all adequate for the vast economy like ours. These are some of the points which we have found out which are very useful as a support mechanism. Forget about their utility at the long term. First of all, moratorium for all EMIs. We have seen postponement of payable installments and interest payments. We have fixed the moratorium. Of course, they introduced by the RBI and implemented by all of us bankers. And herein initially 3 months moratorium was given, and subsequently it was extended to 6 months. In fact, we are expecting a moratorium up to December also. It is not yet known. Maybe within a month, our RBI will coming out with one more policy guideline in this regard. And moratorium for EMI has helped a lot for all the borrowers who have a commitment and sincerity of repayment, whereas they had no income. So for such people, moratorium or stoppage of EMIs has helped them a lot. But the thing is, this moratorium always comes at a cost. It is not a waiver of installment or waiver of interest. And there is no stoppage of interest debiting. Only thing is you are paying the installment and interest at a future later date. That's why at a cost. And second one, most important support mechanism, our bank and our banking system, and RBI has given to the borrowers is GECL, or what we call guaranteed emergency credit limits, especially to MSME and of similar kind, and for big borrowers who are in the real crisis and who are in need of urgent funds. Here the bankers have given about 20% of their total outstanding as of February end. Just a minute. In GECL, the bankers have given 20% of total funded liability from the bank as of February 29th as GECL, or additional emergency credit limits to all. In fact, so far the All India bankers have given about 1.5 lakh crores of GECL. They have given the sanctions worth of similar kind of borrowers, and not for personal loans, remember. And out of this 1.5 lakh crores, about 50% is already released or utilized by the borrowers, and substantial amount also will be released, sanctioned and released in future. In fact, the figure given by Modi ji was about 3 lakh crores, out of which 50% has been given already by the bankers, and out of the sanctioned 50%, the borrowers have utilized about 50% so far. And it is one of the excellent support mechanism given by the government, of course, through the funds belonging to the bankers. And it is one of the best thing. Even in our bank has given about 4,000 crores of worth GECL, and about 50% has been utilized already. And we have done our bit to help our borrowers, especially MSME and similar kind. And one more financial mechanism or financial support given to MSMEs as well as non-MSMEs is COVID-19 special scheme. Wherever the borrowers are not eligible for GECL, the number 2 point, wherever the borrowers are not eligible for GECL, we have tried to help them by giving 20% of their working capital limits, other than personal loan segment here again. And because most of the sufferings are not by personal job holders, whereas the industries, MSMEs, agriculture sector, all these people are suffering a lot because their well-being is most important for all of us. If they are surviving, then only the entire economy will survive. That's the reason behind GECL and COVID-19 20% scheme, which is meant for supporting the industries and MSMEs specifically. And more than these three, the Reserve Bank of India also released some of the reserve requirements so that the bankers' hands are freed. RBI eased some of the reserve requirements. They have reduced the repo rate to 3.35%. Reverse repo rate also changed, and all other rates were also touched, so that bankers will be ready with the additional funds. But unfortunately, these release of funds will not be immediately beneficial to the customers because there are no takers for these loans, additional loans, unless the economy shows the positive trend and unless the opportunity gets increased. As of now, the opportunities are very much down. That's why there are no takers for business. There are no takers for this kind of additional support system. We have seen how the financial system is supported by our RBI's policies, like IT deductions, additional benefits were given, filing of returns postponed, and 15G, 15H submissions also given extra deadline or extra time was given by the RBI. And we have seen one more support mechanism wherein the micro credit facility was given to small vendor kind of borrowers who are without any MSME certificate, who are small street vendors, roadside sellers, all of them who are getting some of the support mechanism from banks up to 10,000, for example. And then here I have excluded all those government direct facilities for the people. In fact, in Karnataka, we have seen how the rickshaw pullers are given certain benefits by the government of Karnataka. Similarly, the central government schemes also there, wherein the government is helping the needy borrowers in just coming out of their crisis now. To go little further, how the post-COVID challenges will remain. We have to understand this COVID situation will go little far and we have to live with these things, but the challenges are different. The severity of COVID, I believe, yet to come. And some of the areas, for example, in Karnataka, we have seen it is just at the highest peak now, and Bombay and Delhi almost controlled, whereas Bombay is yet to control, and many other big cities are in serious damage. And these challenges have to be overcome. And the moratorium is, first of all, not at all adequate for many of the sectors. This is a big thing we have done out, but still the issue is this is not at all adequate. When the people are not having adequate income, they have to be supported in different ways. So we expect the moratorium to be extended till December at least. We don't know how it will come in reality, but we expect that. And more than this moratorium, what is required for most of the borrowers, including MSME, personal housing loan segment, everybody, is the restructuring of all loans, because they cannot come out of adequate revenue to repay in the near future. That's why what is more required is not just moratorium, but a restructure one time. Maybe the RBI will come out with the solution of one-time restructure, wherein the customers are given at least some 1 year holiday in future, beyond this, say October or December, and 1 year holiday coupled with resetting of installments and resetting of due date, so that the repayment of installment and interest will not be a burden. So what is expected by most of the borrowers is not just moratorium, but a big restructure of installments and interest, including concession in interest. We have seen a lot of demands are coming for interest concession, and wherever genuine cases are there, bankers are giving it. Whereas the restructure is one thing that RBI is yet to come out with, and we are hopeful that this will be given in the near future. And in fact, the moratorium is covering the individual borrowers, but the other issues like GECL and other support mechanisms are not covering the individual borrowers. That's why this restructuring as well as some other individual schemes are very much in need. And one more gray area is this moratorium and restructure already we are doing is not at all applicable for loans sanctioned March onwards. There are so many people who have availed loans after March 1st, but they are not eligible for moratorium. They have to pay the installments as usual, but their income has been affected because of continued COVID situation. That's why March onwards, fresh loanees or fresh borrowers, they are affected a lot, but the existing scheme of moratorium and restructure, they are not considering those people. And there is a big gap there. And secondly, lot of damage will be uncovered later on. In fact, the financial burdens and financial facts of well-to-do people will be coming out only when we uncover the truth and we uncover major things after the COVID challenge is over, or once reasonable time is over. Many of the big elephants will fall down at a later stage, and it is very difficult if an elephant falls down. The same situation applies to big industries. Lot of damages will be certainly there, but they will be uncovered only later on when we go deep into all these things. And the economy revival is very, very uncertain. All sectors are facing this situation, and most of us will be working with this 50 to 75% capacity, be it in staff area or manufacturing capacity or utility of capacity or capacity utilization. All these things will be forced to work with the 50% capacity or 75% capacity in the near future. Whereas to run our show with the 50%, we have to incur certain expenditure, especially fixed costs, to the 100% level. That's why there is a big uncertainty looming large, and economy revival is very much uncertain. And the big financial sector crisis, like the one we have seen in USA during 2007 or so, that kind of financial sector crisis is very much looming. And we pray that the financial sector crisis will not be there, and our withstanding capacity, just like the immunity system of our individual borrowers or individual colleagues rises, the immunity of the borrowers or borrowers in facing the financial sector crisis also has to be increased, and that is possible only through concrete efforts from the government and all who participate in this economy. And we have seen how stress has been there, and sad part is the stress as well as the default rate will rise further because of all this stoppage of income, stoppage of activity, and virtual zero in new projects and new capital introduction. All these things are almost zero. That's why there will be a lot of stress and default will rise. And the bankers are in the forefront of this crisis because the default will be first applicable to bankers, whereas the private money lenders, they will recover anyhow, or they will be in a better position to recover, whereas the bankers cannot do the activities done by those people. We can just imagine what happens when all the shops, malls, and education sectors are not open, and when the labor force not yet returned to their normalcy, and the public functions are also stopped. So because of all these things, the default will certainly rise, and that is one of the post-COVID-19 challenge which we all have to face and we have to survive. And the next one is one more major issue: banks, especially our Indian banks, and especially the weaker banks, they are not insulated enough for this huge challenge. There will be huge write-off or waiver of big defaulted loans, and there will be a bankruptcy threat as well. And many of the bankers will require additional capital, and the health and HR challenges of especially staff members and how to manage the HR is also one of the major issues. In fact, in banks, we have seen people are having the mindset of going on long leave when somebody nearby catches with this COVID situation or catches positive. And many of the staff members who are on the wrong side of 50, they are having the mindset to either to get VRS or get long leave or utilize all their leave. And the youngsters also very much stressed. And because of this, big HR challenges looming large, and health and well-being of staff members is very much essential for the bankers to run the show, because bank, despite whatever we have achieved in terms of technology, we are still dependent on the human resource, and surviving through human resource is a big challenge. And let us hope that our health as well as the HR challenges are overcome faster. And one more point in this regard is our future economy revival will certainly dependent on how much we spend. It is a real paradox wherein the spending is determining the economy revival. Our economy cannot be revived unless we spend adequately, and we cannot spend adequately unless we earn adequately. And this is a vicious circle wherein we have to earn more, we have to spend more, and we have to revive the economy. So certainly how much we will spend in future will determine the economy revival, and there is a paradox we are facing. And to sum up again from the banker's perspective, during this massive spread of positive case, keeping each and every staff member healthy and motivated, more importantly, motivated, and keeping the branches open and keeping service at highest level, and recovering the debts also from the distressed borrowers is really a big challenge. Recovery from the distressed borrowers is really a big challenge. And I have listed some of the strategies for the future, for the immediate future, I must say. Here we have to give helping hand to all, right from staff members to our customers, right from our depositors to our stakeholders, right from laborers to our working class, right from big industrialists to small MSMEs. Everybody needs a helping hand. In fact, as I have already said, the government is doing very well. Government is doing very well, but the thing is that is not adequate because of the crisis level we are facing. And helping hands to all needy is very much essential. And one more mantra I must say, and in fact practiced by most of the big organizations, is be cautious, conserve your energy, consolidate your position, and emerge stronger. Because during the crisis, we cannot be less cautious. We have to be cautious in our investments. We have to be cautious in spending. We have to be cautious in safeguarding our interests as well as the institutional interest. So let us be cautious. Let us conserve our energy. Our valuable resources cannot be wasted for unproductive expenses or unproductive investments. Let us conserve our energy. Let us consolidate our position. The most important, because we have to keep building ourselves and we have to consolidate our positions so that we can face further crisis in future. And if we go ahead with our cautious approach, conserve our energies, conserve our resources, and consolidate ourselves, then certainly we will emerge stronger. And this applies to all sectors, right from banking, insurance, academic, education, or individuals, employed, labor class, everywhere it applies. And this mantra has to be followed by everybody. Let us be cautious, conserve, consolidate, and emerge stronger once the crisis is over. Hope we will be coming out of this crisis soon. And banks and insurance companies, lot of digital push is there, and digital channels have to be used maximum extent. Then only we can survive, because the transport needs and the physical contacts, social distancing, all those things are possible only when we avoid certain unnecessary movements and avoid certain unnecessary travels. And use of digital channels like ATMs or internet banking or mobile banking or purchases through some technology apps, all those things are possible. Even nowadays, the consultancy, even branch audit works also done through online. Our auditors have completed the audit exercise of each and every branches recently through online process. Majority of them did through online process. So use of digital channel for banking, personal, as well as almost all area is a must. Even academicians also are using the digital channels. I don't know to what an extent it is effective, but for bankers and insurance sector, this use of digital channel is one of the common thing, and we have done a lot in this regard. And our transactions, almost 70 to 80% of the transactions are now happening through digital channel, and only 25% of the transactions are done through number of transactions wise. I mean, not amount wise, number wise, the transactions are happening mostly in digital channels, and that has to be made substantial progress further. And we have to strengthen these digital channels further through regular upkeeping and regular updating. And a lot of innovations are required, because the fraudsters are running faster than our banks. So digital channels are always riskier, but we should have our own adequate safeguards so that we do safe banking, as well as the digital channels are used to the maximum extent. And we have to avoid, this applies to personal as well as institutional perspective, we have to avoid and postpone expenses. That is the only way we can conserve our energy. We have to show our decent profit, because profit is the one thing which pushes us forward. If we continue to incur losses, then we cannot survive and we cannot justify our stay in this business world. So let us avoid and let us postpone such avoidable and postponable expenses like travels, like capital expenditure, like reduction of rent, and whatever possible we have to avoid. And we have to distinguish between the relevant and irrelevant expenses, and we have to save much in this regard. You may be surprised to note that most of the bankers have stopped the recruitment for the current year, totally stoppage of recruitment, totally stoppage of promotion exercise for the 1 year period. That means they are avoiding these expenses, and they are avoiding travel, they are avoiding certain capital expenditure as well, so that their profitability level will be at the high. And what is more required is our focus, increased focus, as well as supporting of domestic market. We cannot anymore depend on our foreign sources, our China sources, or we have to support our domestic market. domestic producers as well as domestic consumers have to be supported in a big way so that this strategy works out well and we come out of these challenges very well. And the most important thing here, one more thing is our will to perform, will to go ahead, and political and economic stability is a must. We cannot have the attitude to blame each other. We cannot have continuous mudslinging, and we have to work in unison. All of coordination with the government guidelines, government authorities, and our civic administration is doing wonderful job, but that is not adequate considering the gigantic nature of the crisis we are facing. And let us hope that, and let us wait for the best. Let us hope that we discover proper medicine, and let us hope that the normalcy returns to our economy. To come to the last stage, the economy is fully opened up, we believe, but it is not yet ready for telling as normal. It is not yet normal. It is just beginning to open up. As shown in this cartoon here, the door is half open. A half open door need not be fully open. It is neither open nor closed situation now. Our country is also facing the same situation. Our pessimists say that it is half lockdown still. Our pessimists say that it is still half lockdown, whereas the optimists believe that it is half opened up. In fact, both are true. Our pessimistic friends as well as our own optimistic friends, they are true in expressing that the economy is half shut down and half open. But what we need is fully opened up economy and completely normalized economy so that we can do wonders. So I conclude here and thank all our friends there in Dawla College group for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much, sirs, and thank you very much. I think I am audible here.
Yes, sir.
I am audible here, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Any questions you can, sir, regarding banking, and with my limited experience, I can try to do justice, sir.
Yes, so far we have not received any question in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But it
sir.
is the time for question and answer. If any participant wish to ask any question, you are free to ask, please. So far we have not received any question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I have got a couple of questions, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is the present lending policy of the banks? Whether there is any change in the lending policy, whether the banks are following the liberal policies or
Yes,
it is
sir.
following the same policy as before?
Yes, sir. Actually, other than helping the needy people in a liberal way, that is liberal in terms of amount as well as liberal in terms of rate of interest.
Yeah.
Those things are there, and we are given free hand to help the needy borrowers, especially MSME. So
Yeah.
the policy will be there, but we are given free hand to given. In fact, that 20% scheme is really good one because
Yeah.
they can avail almost 20% of their total outstanding in the banking system.
Yeah.
There's a big benefit they are having, and in fact, that comes without any collateral security also.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what more is required? 20% additional support financially as well as no collateral requirement, and rate of interest also very cheaper. It is ranging between 8 to 9%, sir.
Yeah.
Especially for MSME, and that is one thing. Whereas the bankers are trying their best to support wherever required. Yes, sir.
So recently your bank has launched a new health insurance policy.
Yes, exactly.
Under what
fact,
conditions? Under what
yes,
conditions
I
it is
will-
being used?
Yes,
It
sir.
is-
I will tell you something about that. In fact, a lot of insurance companies have come out with insurance schemes to help the customers come out of this COVID situation, or whenever there is a positive case, they are given health support or insurance support is there. In this particular COVID-19 policy, the people have to pay about 400 rupees, and that will cover their hospitalization expenses. But there are certain restrictions like home quarantined people may not be getting, only pure hospitalization expenses will be there. It will be supported. subject to cover. In fact, that is a group insurance policy wherein only account holder is given the choice of opting for that policy. Whereas we have now come out with a little bit extra premium, wherein non-account holders also can cover themselves against the COVID risk. In fact, before going for such policies, we have to understand what are the items covered. Certain policies will be there, but only after we going to the claim stage, we will be understanding what are the items not covered, especially in that certain cheap policies, group insurance policies, the PPE kits are not covered. That is a grievance people are having. But in the normal health insurance policy, marketed by almost all insurance companies through banks or without banks also, and that PPE kit also covered. And it is always better when your institution is not taking care of the health insurance requirements of yours, then it is better to take care of ourselves through some insurance policy issued by the bankers. Even we also did that, sir. It is very popular. In fact, we have issued about in my region only, we have issued about 30,000 policies, about nearly 30,000 policies we have given, 30,000 of our customers covered. But the thing is, basically insurance product will not be appreciable until the claim situation comes. Until the last moment we say that I am not having such kind of crisis, I will not be facing that crisis at all. So insurance is not required for me. That will be the common mindset. But nowadays, people are getting awareness about this. Yes, sir.
Yes, at what rate it is made available to the non-account holders, sir?
It is non-account holders. It ranges between 490 to 700, depending on the
Risk.
period of insurance. Period of insurance. For example, you can go for 4 months, 6 months, 9 months.
Oh.
In fact, if you go for 9 months, it will be about 900 rupees. If you go for only 4 months, it is only 490 rupees. But the thing is, we don't know until what time this corona will be there. That's it, better to go for a little bit of higher premium as well as higher duration.
Yeah. Sir, there is a question from
Yes, sir.
Akshata Nayak.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
read out the question. Will COVID create problem for the solvency of the banks?
Oh, certainly. In fact, I have touched that point wherein I have mentioned bankers are not prepared for this kind of crisis. Lot of capital expenditure, lot of capital infusion also required, especially banks which are having the crisis of less capital. They are having the crisis. If the NPA mounts, lot of provision has to be made from our capital funds only. So if the NPA mounts, it will affect the capital position and capital adequacy position. And Madam is right in telling that this COVID situation or COVID crisis will certainly affect the solvency of the banks. She is right. And in fact, we have to conserve our capital and conserve our resources. And that is the only way we can face. And we have to control our NPA. That is the most important thing. As of now, I don't know how we will withstand the 20% projection of NPA. If it happens, it is really a big challenge for most of the banks. Of course, the public sector banks will have government support, but private sector banks will have the support of only shareholders. That's why it is not so easy. Also, one more support system we are having is we are a little bit more known for our caution rather than our aggression. That's why we are adequately capitalized. That's why we are, we don't say that risk is not there, risk is there, but we are better positioned to face these things, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. We have no more questions, sir.
Yes, sir.
We have come to the end of this webinar. I take this opportunity to thank the resource person of this webinar, Sri Raja BS, Deputy General Manager, Karnataka Bank Limited, Bangalore, for his nice presentation and also for unearthing the hard realities of banking field.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
COVID period. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable presentation and
Thank you.
nice things.
Thank you, sir. I once again thank our beloved principal, sir, and my friends there, Mahavir Ajri and Mr. Parshanath Ajri. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I also thank all the participants who have registered and who have witnessed this webinar. Our thanks are also due to the inaugurator of this webinar, Sri Abhijit Yam, the Secretary of DJV Sangha. We also thank the principal of our college for giving us all kinds of support in holding this webinar. Our thanks are also due to the coordinator of IQAC of our college, Srimati Padmaja Shetty, and the members of organizing committee, Dr. Sudarshan Kumar, Santosh Shetty, and also the technical assistants, Srimati Akshita Marathe, Varun, and also Srimati Kumari. Finally, thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. The chat box ಆಯ್ತು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದೇನಾ
ಹೇಳು please put your feedback into the chat box. The link has been already provided and your e-certificate will be sent to you within a week. Link has been already given in the chat box. Please use that and give the feedback immediately, and we'll send the e-certificate within a week. Thank you one and all.
ಗಂಟೆಗೆ